We're here this morning for some networking tips to build better relationships and build better business. As chamber members, we all want to maximize our investment, and as business leaders, we want to build better business. In the next hour, it doesn't matter where you are on this spectrum, we're going to, whether it's your first networking event or whether you've been building relationships for years, we're going to go through some simple tips that is going to benefit everyone. So today's agenda, we're going to start to prepare before you arrive. You'll learn the 3 C's of networking. You'll get quick connections to start building relationships. Learn some easy frameworks that are going to be remembered, and why you don't need a pocket full of business cards. And most importantly, stay tuned and pay attention to the very last one, because we're going to show you how to ensure you get those most important follow-ups. So everyone needs a network, right? The problem is almost nobody is taught how to network. Into building the relationships and getting some tips, what do most networking events feel like? Anyone been to the hangout and seen their confetti cannon? We see so many business cards flying around the room, and we end up coming home with just pockets full of them, right? So you get cornered in that awkward conversation that doesn't seem to be going anywhere. You spend the entire time talking about golf or fishing, and it doesn't actually build your business. And then you suffer from premature solicitation, where somebody tries to sell you something before they even introduce themselves. So many things happen when we don't do networking right. Well, time is the same for everyone. How many hours do you guys get? 24 hours a day, right? You cannot buy more and you cannot spend less. But when you use your time more efficiently, and specifically your networking time, you can get better results. So today we're going to get some relationship tips, networking tips, so that you can magnify your output. Let's start with prepare. When do we start preparing for a networking event? Anyone? The night before. Night before is a great time too. How about when we sign up, when we are notified of it? The first thing we need to do is figure out what we want from that event. If you don't know where you're going, how are you going to know when you get there? Setting the destination and setting the intent for what you want to accomplish is huge. What are you looking for from any specific networking event? Are you looking for leads? Are you looking for partners? Are you looking for resources for your existing customers? Are you just looking to get out of the house and out of the office so that your spouse stops yelling at you for complaining about work? It's okay. Any of these things are the right answer, but you got to know what you want out of it, so that you can know that when you know what you want to achieve, you are far more likely to actually achieve it. Now, how many of us have been to events with the chamber? Who's the first person that we see when we get there? Often it's either Caroline or Pam and sometimes Amanda, right? They can be your best friend when we know what the intention is before we get there. Are we looking to meet somebody in particular? Why are they your best friend? They have the sign-up list. They know who's going to be there. So if you are looking for a particular profession or a particular person that you want to be introduced to, often before you even get into the room, they can guide you to, oh yes, this person from this company is here, or this person is signed up, be on the lookout for. It is some other simple things. How many of us think, I'm going to a network event, I am off work hours, there is no way I'm going to wear my name tag? Who's the name tag for? Everybody else. This is a crucial piece. Have you ever been in the awkward situation of, hey, my name is, great to meet you, and we have a 10-minute conversation, and you're like, what is this person's name? And at this point, I've talked to him too long to be embarrassed. I'll get his card. That'll solve the problem, right? How many cards end up in your pocket by the end of the night? And it's like, oh, which one was him? Your name tag can avoid that awkward conversation, letting people know. And again, Pam's your best friend because if you don't have one or didn't bring it with you, she almost always has those available, right? So the name tag is not for you, and it's not to pigeonhole you into working after hours. It is for those powerful network relations. And again, building relationships. How many times would you go out with somebody after the first date if they didn't remember your name? So those simple things can help increase the chances of building relationships. So preparing before you go and knowing what you want before you get there. So has anyone started thinking about how they're going to prepare for their next possibility of networking events and building relationships? Great. Okay. So 3 C's of networking. The 3 C's of networking. Well, the first one is what level of transaction or what level of networking do you want to engage in? The first one is cash. That's very simple. It is a transactional based. These introductions often start with, I would love to help you, or I help anyone, and I help everyone who. That is a transactional base. That is the bottom level of networking. And there's nothing wrong with that because does anyone in their business not need cash? If you do, I want to learn your secret. So it's okay. But knowing where it is that you are on these 3 C's is going to help you not only set your preparation, but also understand when you've gotten to the destination. So cash, that is a transactional base. Are you looking to sell some of your stuff? The next one is customers. So not only just the one-off transaction, but where are groups of your customers? And this one sometimes is an introduction, and sometimes it's a location. Anyone here in any kind of home service or real estate, or Beth, you go into people's homes. So instead of saying, I would, I help homeowners who, this would be, I would love to meet the social chair of this neighborhood. What's the difference there? Instead of selling one-to-one, you're now getting connected with somebody who knows a group of people. And the social chair is a hugely powerful person. Why? They hear what's going on in every house, right? They know all the people that are complaining about stuff, all the people that are planning for stuff, and all the people that are bragging about stuff. And those are the 3 keys that we can really tee off on, right? So that's the customer. So beyond transactions and then groups of customers, but there's a higher level of C in networking. Anyone want to guess what that is? Say it out loud, Dana. Connections. What is the connection? How is this different from a transaction or a group of transactions? When you make the right powerful connection, they continue to feed your business day after day, month after month, year after year. So an easy example of this, didn't have anybody in real estate. Insurance, anybody in insurance? Okay, fantastic. So an easy example of insurance, again, we would start at the cash level. I would love to quote an auto policy for somebody, right? That's pretty standard transaction. Connection might be, again, going back to the social chair, would love to talk to homeowners groups about homeowners policies, rate changes. The connection would be, where would you find an entire group of people who desperately need car insurance but have never had it before? Bingo! 15-year-olds. Guess what happens in South Carolina, though? We don't teach kids to drive in school. Where do we teach those kids to drive? Driving schools. So if I'm an insurance agent, a great connection for me would be the owner of a driving school, because they've got 15 or 20 kids right now, right? And their parents are scrolling through Instagram in the parking lot while they're trying not to knock over cones learning to parallel park. Wouldn't it be awesome if you made that connection and you said, I would love to add value to your business by giving your parents the opportunity to prepare for how to insure your new driver, whatever it is. That's 15 or 20 car policies that, guess what, parents probably live somewhere too and they need homeowners. But that's just what happens in March. What happens in April? There are 15 or 20 more kids that need to parallel park and their parents are scrolling through Instagram. Oh, wait, they can feed me all year long, every month. That's what a connection can do. Again, going back to real estate, this is how the power of a broad network can really magnify. We didn't have anybody in real estate. Myrtle Beach is in a very unique position right now. We are the number 1 or number 2 fastest growing set of zip codes in the country since the pandemic. We figured out we can work from anywhere, right? So why not work at the beach? Where are our customers coming from? Who is buying houses in Myrtle Beach?
People from the north.
They're coming from New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, right? They're all coming here. They don't need a new house. They need a new life. So having that opportunity to get to the source, we know where they're coming from. With a broad network, you can become a resource before they ever get in market. There are over 3,000 real estate agents in Horry, or the greater Grand Strand. I don't know if it's Horry County specifically. Before they ever get here, if you become a resource, they seek you out. So that's what having a broad, powerful network can give you the opportunity to. Those connections that continue to feed you. Anybody in mortgage? Didn't have anybody there either. So, and again, there's tons of different strategies that you can use, because what happens? Well, we know if they're coming from New York or New Jersey, they probably bought that house in 1994 for a couple $100,000 and just sold it for 1.1 million bucks. They're probably going to pay cash, but we can still say, hey, there's investment opportunities in Horry County too. Not only can you get your primary residence paid for, but we can help you invest that on a 1031 exchange. There are other ways that you, and people that are coming from Michigan or Detroit, they probably are going to need that mortgage rate. So you have different opportunities to build different strategies. But those are the 3 C's. And you can see how when you elevate from just a transaction base to groups of customers, that's going to elevate your business. And then when you start making those powerful connections, that's when you start to not grow your business, but scale your business. So quick connections. Any questions on any of those things? Everyone see how that stair step can work? And how relationships are key to all of it. Again, the preparation piece. But here are some quick connections. Now that you know where you want to go, you know what level you want to talk about, because, and again, it's okay if you're still starting out. If you're a solopreneur and you can't fathom the idea of scaling your business right now, that's okay. But how do you build relationships? How do you get those quick connections so that people actually interact with you? Well, the first way is quality over quantity. Again, if you are one of those people that are running through a networking event and throwing money like Joker and the Batman series, you're doing lots of quality or quantity, but you may or may not be hitting some quality conversations. If you know what your destination is, you want to know who it is you're going to connect with, spending more time with fewer people can actually be far more beneficial. So those quality conversations. What if you're not sure if this is the right person for you? The next one is questions. Ask really, really great questions and listen to how they operate, especially new people that you're being introduced to. Ask great questions. You're going to be the most interesting person in the room if you just listen. More ways, add value. If you have a common customer set or they're experiencing a problem that you can help them with, continuing to add value to them, giving them a better outcome, whether or not you want anything in return now. Patrick Bet-David, anyone heard of him? He does edutainment. He tells an amazing story when he was just starting out, early 20s, had no business connecting with, and I wish I could remember the guy's name that he connected with, but just showed up. The guy was nice enough to let him, meet him for coffee. And, as a 20-something-year-old kid meeting with a multimillionaire, Patrick went out of his way not to let him pay for lunch. So, this 20-year-old kid paid for this guy's lunch and then said, how can I help? How can I help? For years, he did nothing but every 4 or 5 months would meet this guy for lunch, buy him lunch, never asking for anything in return. He said about 6 years later, after a couple of dozen contacts with this guy, he says, I've got this contract that I can't really handle right now. Would you be able to take, I think it was a $6 million referral, just by building that relationship and adding value and offering to help. How else can we build great relationships? Again, if we know what our destination is, if we've got a customer base that we can't help and we know they need somebody, if we have a pocket full of referrals to give away when we go to a networking event, you will be remembered forever. Tom, I know you've heard this, so what does that trigger? When you give somebody to something, what does that trigger?
Well, it's a great relationship.
Well, it creates a relationship, but there's the law and the go-givers. What does that trigger?
Right. I don't know what you're going for, Brandon, but
if I give you something, what do you want to do?
I want to give it back to you. Right?
The law of reciprocity. It triggers that law of reciprocity. So, absolutely. So, and if you haven't read those book series, Tom introduced me to that, and thank you. They're fantastic. But it really does. If you give somebody to something, they want to return that to you. They want to show that generosity. I can get into the human psychology of it all, but it is just they want you on their team too. So those are some quick connections, 5 ways that you can really start building relationships. Some easy frameworks to be remembered. Who else has walked into a room and then somebody says, "Oh, tell me about yourself," or "Tell me about your business." And it's a deer in the headlights look. There's some easy ways for you to actually be remembered. And if you've heard any time that I speak, my favorite formula for just about any situation is called a PSA. And it's not a public service announcement. It is problem, solution, and life after. If you have ever heard of BNI, Dr. Ivan Meisner's written many books, done lots of things. He calls it the afters. I call it life after. But when you start with a problem, you get people to recognize, oh, this is something that I need to store in information. So many times somebody will say, "What do you do?" And the common answer is, and there's nothing wrong with this, but it's not remembered, it is "I am a." When you answer the question, "What do you do?" with "I am a," where does the follow-up go? Well, how did you? So that's I am a chiropractor. How did you get into chiropractic? So where did you go to school? All of those follow-up questions are about me. When you start with the problem, where's the follow-up question? So what do? Middle-aged guys try and keep it up with their kids. They suffer from low back pain. Ooh, I suffer from low back pain. How do I get that fixed? That's the difference of, I'm still a chiropractor, but I'm helping middle-aged men not suffer from low back pain. So problem, and that is what people remember. Going back to the psychology of it, altruism is self-centered, oddly enough. It's because we want to survive. We have exactly one job, and that's to survive, wake up tomorrow. The reason that we do that, or the way that our brain functions, is to find as many solutions to as many potential problems as possible. So what's the solution? Position your product, service, company as the solution to that problem. So problem, solution, and then life after. What's it going to look like when they no longer have that problem? So what do? Middle-aged dads trying to keep up with their kids suffer from low back pain. Often in as little as 2 or 3 chiropractic visits, they can have pain-free, keep up with their kids, and enjoy, rolling around on the floor. Problem, solution, life after. So those are 3, that's one easy framework for those. Now, here's another one. www. Internet stopped using it, so we took it over. So, and again, I'm going to relate this kind of to the 3 C's. If you're just meeting somebody, just introducing yourself and have never met them before, they're getting to know you. The www that you can use for transactional-based things or for early introduction is, who am I? What do I do? And why should you choose me over any other conversation. But again, that's pretty base level, and that's pretty standard form. When we go to a next level of customers or those groups, we can use that same formula to elevate one more level. So that is who I serve, who I help, what is that customer base? What do I do for them? And then why do they want to talk to me? Same thing on the connections, though. The connections is I forgot my W's for that. Anyway, it's how you're going to help them in their business. Going back to that insurance example, we're not selling to them. We're actually elevating their business. Why do they really want to talk to us? That WWW, who I am, what I do, why choose me, who do I help, what do I do for them, and why their life will be better. Forgot my own frameworks. That's bad, right? But again, that's the way to be remembered. This also goes all the way back to step one. We should be prepared for how to introduce ourselves. We should know what we want to get out of those introductions and building those relationships. So, anyone else have any good frameworks for introductions? I'm always willing to learn and get input as well. So, building relationships. Now, this is my favorite part. How many times have we gone to networking events where we've completely deforested half of a rainforest? So, there's nothing wrong with that. Business cards are fantastic. They have been around for a long, long time and will continue to be an integral part of business. But with some strategery, you may not need a pocket full of them. So, I heard a great story of a guy who has a fantastic strategy. Now, this strategy won't work for us as chamber members because we'll have to double this. But he says he always brings one business card. Anyone want to guess why he brings one business card? Again, as chamber members, it won't work for us. We need two because we got to put one in the fishbowl because we want to win the prize, right?
He's going to choose where to give it to?
Well, he gets to choose, but then everybody else, what's he get to say? Okay, well, we're going to get there. You're going level 2.0. I just gave my last card away. Can I get one of yours? He gets to turn that around. Now, let me back up and tell you about how I stumbled across relationship building years ago. Had never heard the word networking, I don't think. Or if I did, I thought it was what channel to tune in. So a million years ago, building my first business, I did the same thing that every other first-time business owner did. I said, I'm hanging a shingle. There's all these people around me that are already in business. They must be doing great. I know what I'll do. I'll take my stack of business cards and my stack of flyers, and I'll say, hi, my name's Brandon. Would you give me some of your customers? And what do they say? They don't say that. To be fair, I don't think they say the second half of this sentence out loud, but they say, we would love to give people your cards and flyers as long as they live in the bottom of this trash can. So again, I don't think they said the second half of that sentence out loud, but I'm pretty sure that's what they meant. So why? Because I didn't add any value to them. I didn't introduce myself. And it took me months to figure out that, I met all these people. I don't have any customers. So I figured out that some of these things I need to do on the front side. I need to be adding value to them. So I figured out kind of an unusual thing, completely by accident, and it developed over time. But I went into a physical therapist's office, and I said, instead of asking for something from them, let me see how I can help them. Again, brand new city, didn't know anyone there, and I was looking for somebody to partner with, but I said, instead of focusing on me, what will happen if I focus on them? And I started asking them questions. Anyone been to any kind of a medical facility, doctor's office, dentist office, chiropractic. So what's the first thing that you see when you go in there?
The receptionist.
Okay, the receptionist. She sits behind the window.
Some magazines to look.
Okay, yes, the magazine. The person that you see is the person behind the glass. What is their job?
Greet you.
To greet you? Nope. They do that, but that's not their job.
Check you in.
Check you in, they do that, but that's not their job.
Customer service.
Hopefully, but that's not their job. They are the gatekeeper. Their only job is to make sure nobody sees the doctor who's not supposed to see the doctor. Nobody sees the dentist who's not supposed to see the dentist. So what is your destination? How are you preparing? What do you want? Do you want to get past the gatekeeper? How do we do that? So I figured this out, and again, wish I'd had these systems and structures before, but I said, how does somebody schedule an appointment with you? Do they call? Are they supposed to email? Do you take insurance? Which insurance companies do you take? Are you a cash base? How can I make your job easier if I send referrals to you? How can I make it so that you have less work to do? Now, I still, in the early days, would go in with all my flyers and my business cards and, had better luck. And eventually, I refined this system to where I would bring just my questionnaire that I wanted to know from them. And I would get as much information from them and really even tuned it down to what's your specialty? Is there a specific injury or a specific thing that you deal with? And then almost always, after I'd finished my questionnaire from them and said, thank you so much for your time, have a great afternoon. What do you think they would ask me? Well, what do you do? And do you have any cards? Or do you have anything that we can? And guess what? I had prepared, I knew what I wanted, but I didn't bring it in with me. I had it ready for it because I knew exactly what I wanted them to do, but I didn't want them to know that. So I would run out, get what I wanted them to have and provide it only after they asked for it. Now, eventually I made this system even a little bit better. I would do my homework for the companies that I wanted to meet. And I would look at their website, find out how many people worked there, who worked there, whatever. And this is when I really tripped on to something and why I resonated so strongly with BNI when I finally discovered that what BNI was about a year and a half ago. But I would go in and I would have gift certificates for the number of employees that were listed on their website. And I would give that to them. And actually, I would just give it to the gatekeeper and say, here, website said you had 7 people on staff. Here's 7 gift cards that would love for you guys to have and use however you like. And had one, Charlene was her name, Charlene Jones. I remember, I don't know why that just popped in my head. When you build relationships, it triggers memories. So she said, well, do you mind if I put these, give these to customers? We have a prize wheel. She was a physical therapist's office. And when our clients hit certain milestones, they get to spin the wheel. I said, it is a gift. You can use it however you want. It is a gift to you. If you want to put it in your purse and set, claim that I never was here, that's fine. It is a gift for you to use. But she put it on the prize wheel. And it was the most popular prize that anybody would get. And every 8 to 12 weeks, she would come to the office and buy 10 or 12 more gift cards just from that one gift that was completely unintentional was the opportunity there. So that's one, and again, I'll get to some more of this stuff later, but having that preparation, knowing what you wanted, building that relationship and giving and adding value to people, and then not having a pocket full of business cards always paid off for me. Now, coming back to what Amy said earlier about if you only have one, taking a picture of it. Oh, I'm going to have to stop my recording to be a game changer for you. How do you ensure that you get that follow-up? Can I get a volunteer? And I promise I won't do anything real goofy to you. Can I get somebody to scan a QR code for me real quick? Anyone? Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, buddy.
Where's that go?
Your calendar. So I can schedule an appointment.
right now, we don't have to exchange emails. We don't have to go back and forth. We don't have to wait till somebody gets back to the office on Monday. If he's got his calendar linked to his phone, and my Calendly link has already got my calendar in it, he can pick a time that is going to work for him before we ever leave the room. And that is going to start, actually, we started the relationship when we were introduced, but it's going to further the relationship. It's going to give us a reason to continue talking and to continue building that relationship. Now and again, whether we were cash, customer, or connection doesn't matter. We've got the follow-up. And again, if it's a connection, and hopefully that's going to be a long-term relationship build type piece, and that is really going to be a powerful, powerful thing. So we have technology now that we don't have to worry about waiting for that follow-up. So hopefully that was helpful, and I hope that it makes lots of people lots of money. So that is how, just a few tips and a few tricks that you can start building better relationships. And that's just one of 7. The wealthiest people in the world build their networks while everybody else looks for work. So, thank you guys so much.